All right, Ambush, and today we are here for round 3 with singer-songwriter Astrid Tanton. Through rounds 1 and 2, we have been leading to the release of her debut, From My Eyes. And with the recent release of the 5th single, Closely, we are now finally at that point. And now we are here to dive behind this moment with Astrid Tanton. How's it going today, Astrid?
I'm good. How are you?
Having myself a fantastic day, and of course, joined by one of my favorite guests of all time. So, can't argue with that either.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for joining us here once again. And as I mentioned, we have been leading towards the release of this debut EP, From My Eyes, over the past couple of years here. So now that we have finally reached this moment, I have to ask, what does it feel like, Astrid?
It's been crazy just because it's also like I'm performing live again. And it kind of has felt like my music career has been really based solely online. So it hasn't felt as real as I wanted it to. And so now it's like, oh my God, this is all actually happening.
Right, this 2-year period of like working towards getting to this moment, and then suddenly it's like, all right, now the floodgates are open. You need to be ready for shows. You need to be ready to go to media, like all of these things, eh?
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's probably very exciting for sure too.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's I feel like it's been a lot of talking, like, oh, when restrictions lift, we'll do this, and when restrictions lift, we'll do that. And now it's like, okay, restrictions lifted, we're going to do it.
We're finally doing it. And of course, like I mentioned, the final single from this debut EP, From My Minds, came to us with Closely. So of course, I need to ask, what does Closely mean to Astrid Tanton?
Yeah, Closely came pretty quickly to me. I was honestly, like, I remember I was just sitting in my room and I kind of got this melody in my line and this line Closely. And I just went to my piano and I just started messing around. And Closely came from a place of feeling like a lot of people have an opinion about what you should do or look like or all those fun things. And it was kind of saying, like, Closely was the perspective of saying, actually, just take a second and listen to me. And let me explain why I am the way I am, why I dye my hair, why I like all those kind of things, why I dress this way. Like, it's just saying, stop trying to put me in a box that works for you and let me just exist in my own space.
Mm-hmm. It's I really love that view for sure, because one of my biggest things is what does like the color of your hair or the clothes that you're wearing, why does that affect somebody else's life? And like, why do they have to create a negative opinion of that, right?
Of course. Yeah. So that's kind of where Closely came from. It was, I wanted to take a gentle approach to the idea of letting people be who they want to be without coming across aggressive or attacking. It was more just saying, like, I'm a firm believer that you should be able to live whatever life you want to live as long as you're spreading kindness and respect. That's the way I've always looked at things. Like, I've always had this opinion of it can sound bad, but I just say, like, I don't really care who you want to date, what your religion is, as long as you're being respectful and kind, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't define who you are as a person, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I love that perspective, and I love the way that you put it, because like my view on it was always, as long as you're not causing anybody harm. But yeah, loving and respecting people just sounds so much better.
Yeah.
So I thank you for sharing that perspective with us. And of course, as you mentioned, sort of a non-attacking way. And that's one thing that I really love about this, and where you mentioned that the song sort of started with the rhythm, because the rhythm definitely just glides you along through the song. And it's, yeah. And it's like, you have to like actually listen to the lyrics to be like, oh, okay, like we're actually like attacking a topic, like not attacking, like we mentioned, but like, we're delving into this topic and just sort of exactly that. Like, why is this a concern?
Yeah.
I'm peaceful. Just let me be peaceful and loving. And of course, you also released a music video along with this track too, and you mentioned the potential return to live music soon, and of course that's what looks like you're preparing for inside of this music video. So am I on the right track here?
Yeah, actually, really exciting news is that I am performing live at the Rec Room in downtown Toronto on June 24th as part of Pride Toronto's events and festives. It's going to be a really cool night. It's going to be drag queens and dancers and music and an after party. It's going to be a really fun night.
Oh my goodness. So probably unlike any other Astrid Tanton show anyone has ever seen before, I'm guessing.
So far, the Astrid Tanton shows people have seen have been through Zoom, so this will be slightly different.
Yeah, it's the production level on a whole other, boom. Raising it up.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And of course, you mentioned there, most of what people have seen from you has been live streams and otherwise. So has there been quite a bit of work? Because I see that you're sort of working with like different musicians. You're getting a band together. Has it been like some time, some rehearsal to actually take these songs from like your one person performances into like a full band?
Yeah, I mean, I have a really awesome music director, Michael Henley, and he does incredible works, and he's kind of been the mastermind behind the band. And I mean, all the musicians I work with are also crazy talented. Like my drummer and my bassist are both music students at Humber, and then my guitarist is a graduate from the U of T jazz program. So they're all incredibly talented musicians who like, they hear a song and they're like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, wait, I need a minute. I'm like, wait for me, please. And so, yeah, we've definitely been working hard. We've been working since January on rehearsing. And I also have to get into the dance studio to learn some choreography. So there's definitely a lot of pieces moving for this show. And it's a lot different than me behind a screen with my guitar. But it's also been really exciting for me because at the end of the day, I'm a performer. This is what I do. This is what I thrive off of. So it's a good mix of anxious energy and excitement energy.
It's definitely very much different than if you're putting down the guitar and breaking out some moves, because that means you got to work on the cardio too. There's breathing technique that goes into that. Like, my goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I'm excited.
As you absolutely should be. Like I said, this probably promises to be a pretty epic live show. So are tickets already available to this? Or?
Yeah. Tickets are available through the Rec Room's website. They're also available through my website, through my Instagram. They're everywhere.
Hey, awesome. Well, if anyone listening is in TO or in the area, definitely go ahead, pick yourself up a ticket, because this sounds like it is going to be an epic occasion for sure.
For sure.
Hey, so of course, usually I'll ask an artist before a live show, do they have like a pregame routine, a warm-up? So with you having played maybe a little bit less in front of an actual crowd, I still have to ask, do you have a routine to sort of help you get through those nerves?
Yeah, so like I definitely before COVID I was doing live shows and everything, and I definitely have a bit of like a checklist I go through. Usually the day of a show, I won't have gotten as much sleep as I should have because I'll be thinking about the show. So I'm preparing myself for that. The morning of the show, I know we have to kind of load in. There's going to be a lot of moving parts, but I get very zoned in. So at some point before the show, I'm probably going to go into like a business mode Astrid, and I'm just going to like shut the world out for a few hours to get my zen. And I also listen to some good hype music. I have to get some good hype music going while I get my makeup and, do the whole performance. I have to, I've been vibing to Lil Nas recently. I like to listen to some of his bangers as I prepare for shows, like those kind of things.
Hey, an icon inside of that Pride scene for sure, helping you to get hyped up for a Pride concert. I think it fits the vibe for sure.
Thank you, for sure.
Awesome. And of course, as we mentioned, it's been quite a bit of process of time through releasing these singles, working towards this album. So of course I have to ask, is over this time, how do you feel that you have grown as a songwriter?
I think I've really changed as a person than when I started with from my eyes, especially like I feel like if I watch my first interview with you, like the person I am now and her are almost night and day different people.
Much more confident.
Yeah. Just a lot has changed, and a lot of growth. Even though I've been stuck in an apartment for 2 years, that leaves a lot of time for some self-discovery. And I also was going through university, so that posed its own challenges and some windows for growth for me. But I think as a songwriter, I've changed because now that I'm able to leave my apartment and go do things, there's a lot more like stimuli to make me want to write songs and to write about things and to learn about things and to create art. And for a while there, I was really confined to whatever I could find in my space or my virtual space. So since the beginning of From My Eyes to now, a lot has changed just in terms of my ability to view the world and to take in what I'm seeing and feeling and going through and watching my friends go through and put that into my art.
Wow. So taking some time to maybe gain a little bit of perspective, a new view, and then now you can take that new view out into the world and shape and craft and share what you see.
For sure.
Hey, I love to hear it. I love to hear it. So, of course, we've talked about a upcoming concert here, I believe June 24th. I have to ask as well, what else does the future potentially hold here for one Astrid Tanton?
More music for sure. I have a vault of songs that I am aching to get into the studio to produce and get out, just because the songs I have out right now are all almost 3 or 4 years old because of COVID and because that kind of put a stop on everything. So, and like I said, I've changed a lot, so I really want to get some new music out to show a new side of me and to show how I've changed and where my music's going. So the first thing always will be new music, new music, new music. And obviously more shows, more shows, more shows. Maybe a small tour we're looking into right now. This first show is really going to set a standard for what we're going to look to do. So depending on how this first show goes, that'll give us a lot of information for how we want to move things forward.
Mm-hmm. Set the bar, see what the reception's like, go from there.
For sure. Yeah.
Hey, absolutely. I mean, it might be a little difficult to take all the drag queens and everything else out on tour, but I mean, at least the full band, right?
Yeah, at least my full band and I will work something out.
I'm sure you'll still be able to put on a killer concert, a killer tour, and I cannot wait to hear what new music continues to come your way. You mentioned also getting into the studio to produce some of these tracks. So is production something you're continuing to work on going into the future?
Yeah, like it's definitely a weak section of my musician abilities, I would say. It's not my strongest ability, but like I said, I have a lot of really talented and intelligent musicians and producers around me. So any chance I get to actually work with them and kind of absorb everything they're doing, I want to be able to, because like writing a song is one thing, but then imagining it as a full piece is a whole other thing. And I'm still working on connecting those pieces and figuring out how the way my producers managed to make these songs into such full pieces, like Closely, I'm like, how did you do that? Like, how did you think of that? Because I did not think of that.
All I had was a piano line. Where did this come from?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I'm missing a piece here. So yeah, I really want to work on my production abilities, and I really want to be involved as I possibly can be, because these songs are kind of like my children. Like I love them with all of my heart, and I want them to be the best they can possibly be. So being involved in every step of the creation of the song is super important to me.
Hey, absolutely. It's making sure that it reflects that true Astrid Tanton all the way through, right?
For sure.
Hey, love to hear it. And love to hear the music too, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, as we mentioned, it's been a little bit of a process to get towards this moment. And an artist I was actually speaking to earlier today used the word volatile for like the last 2 years here. So as an artist who has been sort of sticking to your vision through these past couple years, is navigating these waters, making sure that you can continue to make sure this album gets exactly where it needs to be through this time. What advice would you have to say potentially to a younger artist who maybe has been struggling or maybe has been experiencing exactly that, what would you say to them for just that, sticking to your vision?
I think the most helpful thing that the team I've been surrounded myself with, and the most helpful thing I've worked through with the people around me, is this idea to keep looking at things through a new angle. If it's not working, try something new. If you feel stuck, try something new. As an artist, it's really easy to feel like, well, this is what I do. I only do this, blah, 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 blah. And the biggest thing I've learned is through a pandemic is that you can't stick with that, because you literally cannot go anywhere, like physically and mentally. And so the biggest thing I would always say is try a new angle. If you feel bored or it doesn't feel right, just try a different way of doing it, because you'll figure it out. And then if that way gets boring, you'll try a new way. That's part of being a musician and creative person, is that we tend to have short attention spans and we tend to want to find something new and shiny very quickly. And so that's what I always say, is just keep yourself on your toes, keep trying new things, push yourself out of your comfort zone. Because usually when you're on the brink of feeling like uncomfortable and like you don't really know what you're doing, that's when you're gonna break into something really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Power on through. And then, I mean, of course, at the end of the day, you'll still have some songs sitting there waiting for you when you get through it, so that you can continue on into the next wave. And I am very excited to see what this next wave of Astrid Tanton is going to be bringing our way. I thank you so very much for joining us here once again to dive behind the release of this debut EP, From My Eyes, as well as this upcoming show that people should go ahead and get their tickets to right now. Astrid, if people want to go ahead and follow you on social media or connect with you, what's the best ways to do that?
Honestly, any social media platform. Instagram is the one I am for sure the most active on, but TikTok I got Twitter, I got it all. It's just my name, Astrid Tanton.
Hey, absolutely. Go out there, follow Astrid, jam this new music, get your tickets to this upcoming show. Astrid, thank you so very much for joining us again on the DTP.
Of course, thank you so much.